A jolly welcome to everyone out there under the sound of my voice. Welcome to the Afia Sports Banter Box, which is the first edition of the Afia show, Afia Sports series. In the month of October, the last quarter of the year, 2025, the year of our Lord. Today is the 2nd of October, and it is a great thing indeed to be here on the Afia Banter Box. I am CCMS, but also known as CC the Rabbi, and I'm going to be running through the proceedings here. I have two very, very dynamic and hungry guests that are here, two gladiators who are just willing and able to nuke it out and slug each other out. You know, a slugfest is in the offing, but of course, we're here to witness it live and direct because banter lives here on Afia TV. This is Afia TV. You can get us on channel 254 DSTV, channel 17 Go TV, and channel 748 Free TV. Stay tuned. We'll be right back in a jiffy. Welcome back. This is the Afia Banter Box show on Afia TV. And, of course, we have two gladiators. We're going to get straight to the issues right now. But the first question we're going to talk about now, the first banter substance that we're going to look at today has to do with something that happened recently over the past weekend and, of course, this midweek, referring to a certain club that is easily the most successful club side in England, referring to Liverpool Football Club, that is domiciled in Merseyside in the northwestern part of England. And they are 20-time league winners. That's what they are. 5-time European winners, actually 6-time European winners. That is European Cup and Champions League. So they are juggernauts in their own right. But recently they've gone through some sort of setbacks because for the first time in the league this season, after coming off the back of a successful 2024-2025 league season, winning the Premier League, they started perfectly with 5 games, 5 wins, no draw, no defeat. Then just this past weekend, there were 2 sides that were left unbeaten in the EPL. And those sides were Liverpool, the aforementioned Liverpool, and of course, Crystal Palace, the Eagles. So it was always going to be a question of who's going to get the win. Naturally, many people expected that Liverpool would be the last man standing, but it was not to be because for the first time this season, Liverpool Football Club they've lost a game in all competitions, and that was a loss to Crystal Palace. Now, as if that was not enough, somebody said once beaten, twice shy. The next game that Liverpool played was away in the stadium that people call hell. That's in Galatasaray, Istanbul to be precise. And thanks to a goal scored from the penalty spot by our very own Victor Osimhen, Liverpool conceded and lost their second consecutive goal in as many games, which then begs the question, has Liverpool FC received a reality check? Is this just a false dawn? Is this a slip-up? Or are they being brought down to earth? This is the first part of the banter we're going to discuss today. I will not be doing that discussion because I really have no side. I am playing devil's advocate, so I'm going to swing neither here nor there, but stand for what is true. But there are some very opinionated men we have in this studio right now, and I'm going to introduce them. First of all, the blue corner, we have the usual, our normal co-host that is here. A bit of a biased co-host, I have to tell you.
Wow.
But camera, just fix on him. Fixate on him very well. Yeah,
Biased?
When you check prejudice in the dictionary, you see your passport photograph by the side.
Wow.
So that's actually him. Behold, I introduce you to Emeka Madueke, the priest of football himself, Femelo, who is going to defend himself. Yeah.
Wow, nice one. Thank you for having me. Nevertheless, thank you for having me.
No problem, Emeka. Look behind you. What's it called? Banter Box.
Okay, no problem.
Does anybody reserve the right to banter and refrain from banter?
I didn't say anything.
I have the right to banter now. I must banter.
No problem.
Okay, so that's the blue corner. Now looking at the red corner, we have another guest who is becoming something of a regular here. A man that is a medical lab scientist by profession, but a football aficionado and enthusiast and pundit by heart and by calling. I guess you could say it that way.
Yeah.
I introduce to you Mr. Bond, Gerald Bond.
It's great to be here. Let's banter.
Let's banter. Yeah, I love that. He's getting ready for the banter. This is where banter lives. So the first question is this. After that loss to Crystal Palace, Liverpool Football Club lost to Crystal Palace. Some would even say that they tasted their own medicine, late goal, thanks to Edin Ketia. Then, of course, Victor Osimhen. So it's quite striking that we have some African genes there. Some are all the same. Liverpool lost back-to-back games. I think the onus of the banter falls first of all on the blue corner, because you have to come from the defensive side, but you have to have something to defend. Okay. So there has to be an attack before he defends. Okay. I'm very certain that Emeka is gearing up for an unprecedented attack on Bond right now, and I will not interfere. Not at all. I love seeing blood flow figuratively. Anyway, so Emeka, over to you.
I do have a tag, but unprecedented. I like to dig a pit that I can cover from in case, just in case. But,
so is Emeka scared?
Let's look at the games that Liverpool lost: Crystal Palace and Galatasaray. Going into those two games, you will have put your money where your mouth is and said Liverpool are supposed to do the job convincingly against the two teams. But on the night against Crystal Palace, Konate and the rest of his backline were not just on the paper or in the game. I mean, Konate was everywhere, but nowhere where he needed to be. Defensive errors, mistakes in the midfield, attack wasn't gelling. The final third passes were lacking or missing, if you say. Slot with some decisions that were questionable, because there were people on the bench that I will have looked to, but I didn't see him.
Really?
I don't know what is in the head of Arno Slot, but I mean, when you play a team like Crystal Palace, looking at the record that they've had, I think they are going on to 25 matches unbeaten from last season. And you know that this is a tough opponent that you didn't win comfortably last season. And you are facing them away from home. You're supposed to come guns blazing. You're supposed to come with everything. But I didn't see everything from Liverpool. It was like watching a Man United versus Burnley game where Man United is flopping their lines everywhere. Sorry to bring in Man United fans into this.
For the record, this is the banter box, so stray bullets are allowed. Go ahead, continue.
Well, yeah, back to business, which Liverpool didn't do. They didn't do the business, and that's the point here. When you win the league, you're supposed to hit the ground running. Yes, they did 5 games, 5 out of 5. But should we say it was a case of David versus Goliath? You finally jammed the Goliath that has been pricking you in the side and you couldn't overcome it.
When you say that, I don't think there's any need to bring in David and Goliath in this conversation when you are talking about Liverpool and Crystal Palace. Quite all right, Liverpool lost, and sad that the result might be. All the same, with the whole shopping that was done last summer by Arne Slot, the team hasn't gelled. Apart from Ekitike, I don't think every other summer buy has really hit home running. So, but the thing is, just like you said, it's more like a reality check, a slip up more like, and it was needed at the end of the day. But with all these theories and everything, everybody knows what Arne Slot was supposed to do. Everybody knows what Liverpool is supposed to do. When you look at the league table, I take comfort from that. So that's right away. And then when you come to the Champions League, it was an abject performance from Liverpool. It wasn't gelling from back to front, and Alisson got injured to top it up after so many saves. But at the end of the day, if they said that the Champions League league phase ends now, Liverpool are still moving to the next round. So it's not all that bad like people make it pain, but it's a reality check. Every club gets their own reality check across the season, and Liverpool got their own early. It's good they got it early. They will still move back. They have Chelsea to play by the weekend, and we are looking up for it. I believe Slot, with what he has seen, he's taking lessons. That's why he's a coach. That's why he's a top coach. That's why he came in last season and won the league. It wasn't a fluke. It was a marathon, and he sustained what he needed to win that marathon. So I still believe in Slot. We'll come up with something. It hasn't ended. This is just the beginning.
Nobody's saying it has ended, but I mean, you've taken a pause, and when you're defending a title, taking pauses. I know you will say it's very early in the season to say that, okay, this might affect Liverpool's season. But looking at the Liverpool game, Crystal Palace and the Galatasaray game, if I'm to be a neutral or be a pessimist here, let me just play the pessimist card here.
Okay.
If this kind of performances continue, like let's say week in, week out, maybe 5 times out of 10 matches, in the long run, your marathon has come to a shortened end, because if you keep on putting out these poor performances, maybe 5 out of 10 games, you know you're not going to reach that, returning back to the top of the table or retaining the title.
While I might agree with what you're saying, at the end of the day, I'm picking one keyword from what you're saying. If if not, it's not like we're talking about a situation like Manchester United where you don't need to use an if. You need to use that as in,
That is a constant in life.
it's here and there, it's here and there, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like a constant thing. The surprise is Man U just not doing that losing or not winning streak. So Liverpool, they will just one match, then we'll go for the international break. Slot has something planned out. He wasn't hired to just.
No, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to come in here. Now. I'm going to point out my abject disappointment in what has happened here. It's just like having two friends, gentlemen discussing and just talking. There's no banter here. I'm here to stoke the fire.
Okay.
I'll stoke the fire. I will. First of all, let me just drop some fuel for the fire. Now, Liverpool Football Club has suffered back-to-back defeats, and they have given some other clubs the motivation, and they've shown clubs that they have an Achilles heel. They've shown that they can be exploited. They've shown that they can be, they can be beaten. They can be defeated. In the term that somebody used once, said, "Gods bleed." That a god has started bleeding, so that god is vulnerable. So that's pretty much what we've seen here. And Liverpool, like we mentioned in the first part, they got a taste of their own medicine. And what's the medicine we're talking about? Liverpool, late goals, coming from behind. First of all, having a relatively commanding lead, and then because of complacency, the opponents get back into the game, and then somehow, sometimes, allegedly, thanks to the complicit nature of the PGMOL and VAR. No, I said allegedly. Hence the word allegedly. We go there. How else do you explain? For instance, 6 minutes of extra time, and then it was approaching the 8th minute that the goal was scored. That's Nketiah's goal. I'm coming. So the point. I'm just this. This is not me. Don't shoot the messenger.
Okay.
Allegations, allegedly. Yeah. Now this is something that some teams might see and say, you know what? I have seen the soft underbelly of Liverpool Football Club, and I can bite. Like in martial arts. I love martial arts. I'm a martial arts enthusiast. Practice it sometimes, and I have roots in it. There's something they normally say in martial arts. Hard meets soft and soft meets hard. Talking about the kind of blows that you give if you're involved in defense or offense. The soft surface of your body should hit hard surfaces, because if you try to use hard against hard, you will cause some damages. If you use your knuckles, for instance, on the skull, you could break the person's skull. But if you're going to inflict harm, use the softer part, that is your palm, but you use your hard part to face the soft, vulnerable sides like the stomach and all that. Please don't try this at home. But you get the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is this: sense vulnerability and pounce on it. Now, some clubs in the Premier League and in Europe also, thanks to Galatasaray, have smelled blood, like sharks sense blood when the blood is released in the sea, in the ocean. So they want to go there and capitalize on a bleeding giant. How do you reconcile this? And Emeka, I've given you food to pull from, but also I've given Bond something to defend, because I know that he has a lot to say to defend that position.
Like I wanted to say before you continued, you said it rightly. It's just a case of karma. The karma you do in this world will always return back to you. Liverpool always banking on scoring late goals to displace their opponents, and in this case, it backfired in their face against Crystal Palace. It didn't work for them against Galatasaray, because on the night, Galatasaray didn't give them any chance to attack. It was kind of like schoolboy stuff there, trying to throw some passes. When you're playing SS2, the SS2s wants to always try and impress with flares, but nothing shows for it at the end of the day. The spirit team at the end of the night will do the job and finish, and Galatasaray are just the superior team on the night.
Okay, so let me just drop this. It's going to be in your favor. It might strengthen your argument. I don't know. It might. Okay, why don't you think about it? Because I'm playing devil's advocate for crying out loud. Why don't you think about it from this standpoint? For instance, we keep talking about the fact that Liverpool lost. They lost in the Premier League. They lost a game in the Premier League, and forgetting that you have to. Context is key. You have to contextualize this. They lost to an experienced tactician in Oliver Glasner, a European winner, one who won the Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt, who beat your beloved Barcelona. We'll get to that in a bit. En route to winning the Europa League some seasons, just a few seasons ago. And this is somebody who has really gone on this unbeaten run since April this year up to this point. So I think we're not giving him enough credit. That's Oliver Glasner for the way he has set up. Imagine losing some of your best players. You lost Eberechi Eze, who is easily one of the best creative hubs in Crystal Palace. On the verge of losing McGahey. Eventually, they did not lose him. And then just losing one or two other players that are there in that team. That's number one from the Crystal Palace standpoint. We're not giving Oliver Glasner enough credit for getting a win against a giant. Secondly, we look at the fact that in Istanbul, when they went to Istanbul, we have records. I actually have the videos of that, where the Galatasaray fans do what they normally do to opponents outside the hotel of the Liverpool players and staff. They were blasting fireworks into the morning.
They didn't let them sleep. So they were discombobulated, they were disoriented, and naturally fatigue came in there. And you know how it is, being a failed footballer like you know what it means to go there and then is this something I said? Anyway, you know what it means to train, and then your mentality is disrupted.
It's the way
and
you use the
eventually
word failed. I mean,
I'm committed to speaking truth. Okay, scratch that.
So wait, because of injuries now we call it failed. Wow.
Well, interpret it as you wish.
Where's the integrity
point,
in the sport anymore? I mean,
there's a lot of integrity. Don't worry.
There's integrity in that.
Behold, men and brethren, the banter box. Banter. So it's banter. I have to leverage on banter. Okay. No, I wouldn't say this outside of banter, but I mean, come on. I'm in my safe zone, banter-wise. That's why I have to say that. So based on these right now, can't we say that maybe these are viable excuses for Liverpool, not taking anything away from their poor performance against Galatasaray, but viable reasons or excuses for them having lost maximum points to Crystal Palace and Galatasaray respectively?
Well, at this point, I think it has to be about what do we do to correct things that has gone wrong? What do you do to get back to winning ways? It's not about laying blame tools and everything. Crystal Palace has been on a great run, the longest unbeaten run in the Premier League, I think like 18 matches or so, going back to last season, winning the FA Cup and all. And then Galatasaray, their fans has guts at the end of the day to pull what they pull, and there was no authority to control that. Well, it's just sad that it's a league phase format now, whereby we don't get to welcome Galatasaray to Anfield. Otherwise, it would have been about
welcome to hell, welcome to purgatory.
Yeah. Let's do our all back. So we don't have the opportunity. Yeah. So it's about. I think Istanbul hasn't been an easy place for away fans, away teams to come and play. So I bet they should have expected something like that. So I'm not going to say anything about that. That's part of football. Sometimes you do it works for you, sometimes it doesn't work. But we don't get to hear the news when it doesn't work. We just get to hear the whole story when it works and everything. So Liverpool is about bouncing back. It's about taking corrections. This is what we did wrong. This is what we're going to do right. It's sadly that I don't think Salah has started this season yet. With the same pace that we know.
It's the only Salah. I mean, then we have Isaac, 007 in your midst.
007, no,
he's overruled.
015.
He's overruled. Why they say all that? Alexander Isaac didn't have a preseason. So
I'm not talking
this
about
is his preseason.
He's French from Reds.
Yeah. He hasn't picked up. 08. You can even say it 08. So I don't really care, but I can still get back to many years ago when Robertson came to Liverpool. How long it took him to adapt to the system. Fabinho did the same thing. So it wasn't just that you just enter immediately and then start performing. It takes time, and there's a whole lot of season. There's many years contract that he signed, and so it's not just by less than 10 games that we used to judge him. So at the end of the day, he's going to take correction. I've seen flashes of what he can do. It's not just clicking. There was one particular pass that he clipped onto Isaac on a normal. With the advantage he had, he usually scores one of those, but it didn't go in. So it's not going to count as an assist or someone scoring a goal. So all these things, when you watch it, you see they're doing something. The balance from the last team, it's not really there like it is. They can still get it back. They can still improve on it. But the thing about football coaches, they don't want to stay where they are. They want to keep on improving. And improving they shall. Otherwise, other people will catch up with them.
One question.
Talking about the part that you said whereby teams feel sense that vulnerability and want to capture, it might be Liverpool roping them in. Because at the end of the day, when you talk about something like Bournemouth and Atletico Madrid with the whole comeback thing, they were winning 2-0. They came in back and was like, maybe we'll get this draw or we might even get a win. And they ended up losing their matches. So at the end of the day, they might just be roping you in. When you come close, they pounce on you. And there's no way you can defend that.
One thing that doesn't make sense about Liverpool right now is you have 2 right backs at your disposal, but yet there's a midfielder that has been employed to play right back in almost all your games. I want to understand the vocal standpoints from Arne Slot there, because when you look at it as a neutral, it doesn't make sense to you. When you try to look at it as a tactician, you can make one
I
of the
disagree.
excuses. Bringing a midfielder as a right back?
I disagree.
Because you have 2 right backs, don't you?
Like I said, all of these things are tactics and everything. If it works, you get hailed as a tactician.
That's the point. If.
But if it doesn't work, I can take you back to matches where Szoboszlai played that same role, and it was magnificent.
Yeah, the Arsenal game, yeah.
But all the same, it didn't work that, so we are all talking about that. Caicedo has done that at Chelsea before. He performed very well in one game. He performed woefully
But mind
in
you,
another game.
Caicedo is a defensive midfielder.
No, we are not.
Szoboszlai
No,
is-
but he's not a right back.
Yeah,
He's
defensive minded.
No. There is no way that you can rope in a defensive midfielder and call him a right back.
Oh.
When you're employing a defensive midfielder, you're not going to say, "Oh, we are calling you to this club to play right back." Nah.
I'm going to come in here right now, even though it's a huge risk I'm taking. Of course, in the words of Charles de Gaulle, long before the late President Muhammadu Buhari, who copied that quote. Yes, I don't mind saying it on there. So I'm for everybody and I'm for nobody.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. So I'm not taking anybody's side, but I'm stating this because the love of the game, the love of sports generally, football in particular, has to maybe make some corrections there. Clearly, yes, you're talking about the fact that you have a Jeremy Frimpong and a Conor Bradley at your disposal who are natural right backs, but you have to then shoehorn an attacking midfielder in Dominic Szoboszlai to right back. Well, it's simply a case, this is my own professional understanding of it, it's simply a case of trying to ensure that you fit in your 2 most creative players in the game. And, because the creative player who, funnily enough, has not been creative enough. We talk about Florian Wirtz, who was signed for that purpose. But if you're talking about the creative hub there, it's either a Szoboszlai or a Wirtz, not both in that midfield based on the formation. But since Wirtz cannot be dropped, you can't pay that amount of money for Wirtz and drop him on the bench.
If he's not delivering, you have to drop it.
But you then have to put, because you're the one that put out the paycheck now. But you have to include Dominic Szoboszlai, who has been spectacular.
That's the point.
Then
Why
I
roll out that big amount of check if you're not sure he's going to deliver?
The point is that this game that we play now has evolved over the years, where we have auxiliary players, we have false everything. Of course, some are even false for all the wrong reasons. Look at a player like say Harry Maguire, who sometimes is a false 5.
Oh God!
But what about false everything now?
I've not heard that one.
No,
before.
shameless fine every now and then. But it's true.
I want to ask this. Is it safe to say that if after 19 games, Florian Wirtz hasn't gotten the goal contribution, he's
the flop of the
100
season.
million? Yeah,
Flop of the season.
Okay.
No, clearly. No,
I just want to say
that one is very, very clear. If nobody says anything
about
about that, then I'll just know that they're watching a microwave oven, not a TV. So so this is what I'm trying to. This is my own view, my own observation. There, you're trying to shoehorn Szoboszlai so that he can play, because yes, he's there as a right back, but we know what he does when he inverts into the midfield to help produce that. We've seen it several times, and let's not forget that he has been very decent at right back. He has been. He's had an odd game, which should be expected because he's not a natural right back. Look at Barcelona. We'll get to Barcelona in a bit, but look at Barcelona. Recently, you had one of their greatest ever players, and one of the greatest players in world football ever, Sergio Busquets, who just announced his retirement at the end of this season. Barcelona's best centre-back since Carlos Puyol, I keep on saying it, and I'm waiting for somebody to defend that. Barca's best and most experienced centre-back since Carlos Puyol was not even a centre-back by trade. And that is this man, Javier Mascherano.
Yes.
Now, why did Mascherano go to centre-back? Because he could not displace Busquets. But his defensive ability and his knowledge of the game, his tactics, his tackling abilities, his interception, his reading of the game was needed. So he had to be shoehorned.
But that's where this differs, because if you're looking at results and maybe statistics and attributes of what these two give to the team, Szoboszlai should naturally start in his natural position because Waits isn't delivering. Yeah, I know you rushed to give the whole 100 plus tag. It's not our fault. You went and rushed and decided that, okay, we want to give this guy the 100 plus million. But yet he's not giving the goods.
When you say our, I want to assume, of course, that you're not John Henry. So clearly, I mean, you can say our all you want.
Say our,
but he that the gold. Somebody once said that the golden rule is this: he that has the gold makes the rule. So if he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Guy, we paid over £100 million for your service.
It's not my fault.
Guy, you must play. Let's wake up and smell the coffee.
Okay,
I think that's my own view. That's how I see it.
Let me say,
Go ahead.
I know
Bond
don't want to say it because obviously he doesn't want to banter. He's there with Liverpool.
No, go ahead.
But I mean, if I was a Liverpool fan, this wouldn't make sense to me. You bought this guy for 100 plus million. He's not delivering. Yet there's somebody here who plays that position and he's giving the goods. Please drop him. I mean, I'm not the one who told you to go and rush and spend 100 plus million. Give me who I need to deliver in that place. Play my right back, who is going to have his natural position, play what he needs to play. When Waits wants to wake up, he will wake up. You don't rush and pay 100 million on something you're not sure about. I mean, Man City made that mistake. You didn't learn from that?
No. That's at the end of the day, that's why you have a squad. So there will be rotations here and there.
That is the point. Where's the rotation? Because the same man who is not delivering,
you and I know that there are some players that they dare not rotate.
No.
For instance, Isak, even if Isak is carrying a crutch and is on his hospital bed with an oxygen mask on his back, you know he must play. He must come off the bench. You know that. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. No, anyway.
that he's not delivering, Florian Wirtz. That he's not delivering is not that he's not going to deliver. He will sure deliver. He's not just going to
maybe after match week 28, we'll see that.
Let's see, he'll deliver. Maybe in the delivery room. Anyway, guys, I think that's that for now. We will. No, this is very interesting. But I mean, no victor, no vanquished, but some bloodied noses and some bruised ribs. That's what we live for here on the Banter Box on Afia TV. We'll be right back for the second segment of the Banter Box. This time, I know that somebody is going to prove whether or not he's a sore loser. Because a certain Blaugrana colored club, whose jersey is in my background for some reasons that I don't have any, I know nothing about, have a lot to answer after this break. Barcelona Football Club, we are coming to you after this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Afia Sports Banter Box show on Afia TV. Of course, frequencies still remain the same. Channel 254 DSTV, Channel 17 Go TV, and Channel 748 Free TV. Welcome back, guys. CC the Rabbi, as usual, is here. Your host and the umpire, referee, and man in between who is separating these two gladiators from each other because the Basbos is getting to another level, and right now we're stepping into another dimension. Barcelona, how do we solve a problem like Barcelona? There is something that I learned when I was studying in university back then, University of Lagos, and that was in the theater arts department. I majored in visual arts, but some of those courses I learned in drama. There's something that they said. They will always say hubris comes before hamartia. Hubris before hamartia. In other words, pride always goes before a fall. And I know what I'm saying about that. I had a conversation with somebody in this studio yesterday, off the camera, off the record, and he kept on asking me a question. He said, okay, all right, he kept on saying something along the lines of, the excitement in this game is out because up to 7 players are out from PSG. How am I going to enjoy this game?
If you want to talk to me, talk to me directly. Don't go to the corners. If you want to talk to me, talk to me directly.
I've not officially introduced
you. If you want to talk to me, talk to me directly. Don't go to the corners.
Look, MCR, off their mics. If they say anything again, off their mic. Turn off his mic.
Directly.
Honorable Commissioner, this is the mic. This time, you off your mic. Anyway, so now I had that discussion with him, and he was just upbeat and just a lot of hubris flying everywhere. 7 players out. How am I going to handle them? The whole front line out there. Desiree Doué out, Ousmane Dembele out, Visha Varashela out. You talk about people like João Neves out. Some key players were just not missing. So it was a walk in the park, or was it? Because the defending champions, and they are called defending champions for a reason, Paris Saint-Germain went, they saw, and they conquered Catalonia yesterday. Came from behind. After a goal scored by Ferran Torres, they got the Mayulu grabbing the equalizer, and Gonçalo Ramos, a man who has been greatly underestimated, the Portuguese centre-forward that scored a hat-trick in the World Cup in a 6-1 mauling for Portugal over Switzerland, grabbed the winning goal. And till now, I think I had to go around the city of Catalonia, in the spirit anyway, and then carry a shovel and start picking up the lower jaws of many Barca fans and wondering what happened, what went wrong. So that's now, the question is this. No, it's basically what I want to ask now. Was it shameful? I think the answer is straightforward, but we still need to banter. Was it shameful for Barcelona FC to lose at home to a weakened Paris Saint-Germain side? Now we have the Gladiators back here, and this time I'm going to start with Mr. Bond, Gerald Bond, who is the guest here, and he will, with pleasure, make sure, to the best of his ability, that Emeka goes home with a cast and maybe a Zimmer frame.
Well,
so, over to you.
When the match was going on yesterday, at some point, I had to switch to another match. I was like, so all Barca could get in this match was a draw at the end of the day. And lo and behold, I came back and I was seeing they lost. So it was, I was disappointed at a draw already. And for them scoring first, and then they lost. I looked at the PSG team and I was like, oh my God, how did he get to this? It's not just balanced at the end of the day. So I'm not imagining what it would have been if they were balanced. And for what is what, after analyzing the whole match, we should find out what Lamine Yamal did to Nuno Mendes. Because this pocketing it's no longer a one-match thing. It happened for Spain, and now it's happening for...
I mean, there were numerous chances where he was left on the ground begging.
Yeah, he left on the ground begging.
Not just
at the end of the day,
at the end of the day,
the man of the match was the left back that Lamine Yamal was playing against.
The one that owned him.
The one that pocketed him. Owned him. Seems like we are sugarcoating it. Pocketed him.
If I say this now, they'll say it's just you being a sore loser, this one, that one. But I mean, let's be honest here. If you watch that game to the very end and you watch the goal that PSG used to win this match, UEFA standards, if the man is ahead of the last man, it's an offside. Please, they should give me reasons. 15 reasons. No, I'm not saying 13 reasons. 15 for why Gonçalo's goal had to stand. Because he was yards in front of Araujo and yet the goal still stood. Now, are we changing the offside rule every match, or are we being consistent? Because I'm calling out UEFA here now.
Why are you calling them out? You're calling them out to fight for reasons why you should have gotten a draw.
I don't care if it was a draw, but the results should have been left as they were. That wasn't supposed to be a goal, and it should have been addressed.
Okay, Emeka, wow. I'm not going to, like I said, I have no side here. I have no side, but
you have a side.
I have no side.
By heart, you have a side. Let's be honest.
No side. Come on, no,
your smile gives you away.
You can neither.
I'm
a smiling person.
You can't lie
Come on,
to
the millions of viewers watching us around the world. Take note, my smile is cosmetic.
And you have a certain relation to a club that hates Barcelona.
No.
Please, I'm calling everyone out.
Keep calling out because you're a sore loser. Now, let me just say this. The truth of the matter is this now. First of all, we seem to underestimate the ability and tactical nous of the genius that is Luis Enrique, who is used to going to Catalonia and getting 3 points. He's done this, is not the first time he's done that.
While he was there too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, he's done that several times. And this is somebody, secondly, who knows Barcelona inside out. The last time Barcelona won a
10 years ago.
10 years ago, he was the one that was in charge of that. So, come on, let's give him some credit. But just to give you some context, because this, I'm bemused by it, Barca fans and Barca players should just suck it up and say, you know what, we lost to a better team. Simple. Because see the point I'm trying to make. The starting lineup for Barcelona was as strong as it gets.
Yeah.
Was it Szczesny was between the sticks. Martin was the left back. Jose Kounde, who has been really decent this season, was a right back. Kobasi and Garcia were the centre back pairing there. In the midfield, they had Frankie de Jong and Pedri. Yes. I mean, you can't see much about that. You had, of course, Dani Olmo, who Barca broke the bank to get this last season. You then had him flanked by Marcus Rashford, who has enjoyed a resurgent career since he left Manchester United and went on loan to Barcelona. And Lamine Yamal, I mean, the less said of Lamine Yamal, the better. Then leading the line is Ferran Torres, who is a more than able deputy for Lewandowski. But you're looking at a PSG side that had Mayulu, who was just known to the whole world, first of all, because of the goal that he scored, the 5th goal that he scored against Inter Internazionale in the Champions League final last season, the 5th goal. Then you had him flanked by Mbaye, who's also one of the squad members. Then, of course, Barcola, who I think sometimes is like he's a love affair with brain cells is dead sometimes, as far as football is concerned. So he was there on the flank. They had Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, Zaire Emery. Emery should not even be starting games because he's a young understudy to some of the other more skilled players that are there. Then you had a left back in Nuno Mendes. Yes, I'll give it that. Yeah. Starter anytime, anything. One of the best left backs in the world. Ashraf Hakimi. Yes, I'll give that to him. But you then had a Pacho and then a Zabarini. There was no Marquinhos, the captain. And then, of course, you had Chevalier.
He's a starter.
Hold on. Pacho is occasionally a starter. He's not always starting games.
I mean,
then, of course, there's no Donnarumma.
Throughout last season, he was starting.
Donnarumma was signed by Man City. So, the point I'm trying to make is
sorry,
Emeka,
I want to
there is a pie. Emeka, now, this is not me taking insights, but I just have to check
all the ones that
there is a pie.
You take insights.
There
is Then there is a pie. No, because he's going. No, I'll give fuel for you too. Okay. There is a pie, a very, very large pie that you should consider tasting. Put some flavor there in that pie. Maybe put some spices, nutmeg, thyme,
some Catalonian
cinnamon.
Sauce, yes, I get.
You can put Catalonian syrup also, no problem. From
any area there,
and do that. But the name of the pie is humble pie. So it's very important that you eat that pie and gorge on it, because really this attitude that you're putting there, even after losing at home. Come on.
I mean,
we're sportsmen here. Good sportsmanship is very important.
There's no way I'm going to say this thing and it to sound like I'm not being a sore loser here, because nobody's talking about the frequent offsides that they gave Barcelona. But when it came down to
there we go again.
It was magically given when the man was in front of the last man. Meanwhile, our own offsides was man to man, where they drew the lines and yet the goal didn't stand. Well, here it comes to PSG.
It happened for the first goal. Are you forgetting that part? Marcus Rashford's cross. If everything was being ruled in favor of PSG, that goal would have been cancelled. But it did get cancelled.
What was the final score? The final score of the game
lost
in Catalonia was Barcelona 1,
at home,
Paris Saint-Germain 2. Let's just leave it at that and take the lessons that need to be taken from there. We'll be right back in a very, very short jiffy as we round off. All man go collect. It's called Word Rounds. Word Rounds always happen here, especially on Afia TV. We'll be right back in a jiffy. Welcome back to the dying embers of this wonderful Afia Banter Box, the first of its kind in the month of October, the year of our Lord 2025. And I'll just give you the final monologue before we wrap up things. You win some, you lose some. And I think definitely being losers this past week should have taught teams like Liverpool Football Club and Barcelona Football Club to come down to earth and then understand that you can bounce back.
So much.
No, there's no enjoyment here. I'm just giving a monologue.
So much.
I have to give a monologue. It is my job.
Enjoying this way too much.
Do you mind? Let me give my monologue. Sorry. It's my monologue, and this is my microphone. That's why it's called microphone. It's not your microphone. It's microphone. Mine. Microphone. Sorry. So I continue with the monologue. You win some, you lose some, and then clearly Liverpool must have learned their lessons the same way Barca must have learned their lessons. But I have a word of encouragement for them. When you lose something or when you fail, it's not something that's the end of the day. It's not the end of the road for you, because the words of Abraham Lincoln went this way, that a success is somebody who moved from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So you learn from the failure and then go back home to the drawing board. But talking about home, my Enugu story, this is our home. My Enugu story, the homecoming for Enugu. Of course, Afia TV's My Enugu Story 2025 is here. And the theme for this year's My Enugu Story is A Letter to My Hood or My Motherland. So have you got a story about the neighborhood that raised you? This is your chance to tell it through writing, photography, videography, or creative art. Now, it is open to everyone who grew up in the Southeast, whether in Imo State, Abia State, Anambra State, Enugu State, Ebonyi State, whether you're in Nigeria or abroad, and there are prizes for each category. The winner is bound to take home 500,000 naira. I like calling it 500,000. You know, it has more zang to it. And then the first runner-up, 300,000 naira. Second runner-up, 100,000 naira. Then the most engaged post during the nominations is 100,000 naira. And the competition runs from September 15th, just this past month, September, and runs all the way to November 1st. So less than a month to the end of my Enugu Stories competition. So for you to participate, all you need to do is upload your entry at afiahomecoming.com/my Enugu Story. Then share on your socials and tag at Afia TV Official and at Afia Homecoming. So we have a job to celebrate creativity and pay homage to the roots and the hoods that made us. Indeed, of course, charity always begins at home, so we remember everything in Afia Homecoming, my Enugu Story. I hope you're going to be there. So key in. There's still space for you there. Thank you very much, guys, for being here on the show. Of course, Mr. Bond, Gerald Bond, thank you very much for playing your part and leaving with just a few bruised ribs.
Yeah, which you are going to correct over the weekend.
Yeah, well, I wonder who the victims will be. But let's watch and see.
Oh, in your wildest dreams.
And of course, Emeka Madoka, the piece of football. Thank you very much, as usual, for being here and showing that you have a more reasonable calling here other than football.
Wow. Thank you, Sisi. Thank you for having me. That's all I'll say.
Banter, banter, banter. And of course, thank you to our writers, our script writers. Let me thank people now. Haba. What? I thank our script writers, the floor managers, the MCR, PCR, everybody that's been involved, the production team, everybody that's been involved in the success that is this Afia Sports Banter Box. We'll do this again next Thursday. But of course, tomorrow we're going to be on the Afia Preview Show, Afia Sports Preview Show by 5 p.m. Make sure you're there. Till then, this is Sisi the Rabbi. I'm signing out. Have a blessed day ahead.